You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your endearingly avuncular host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
your overly tired host,
overly
Rocco.
tired host.
We were
Rocco.
just talking about taking a nap.
Naps would be good, but no. Instead, you know what I'll do, Rocco? I'll wake you up. You know how I'm going to do it?
How?
With the engineering joke of the week. Okay, here you go. Why did the engineer think that their thermometer was smarter than their test tube?
Why?
Because it had more degrees. Huh?
God.
See? Now you're awake and annoyed that I just wasted that time in your life you can't get back. Oh, goodness. So what are we doing today? Oh, I know what we're doing today. So today, we're doing another recurring episode of our Bluebeam features you need in your life, right? Because Bluebeam is a great tool, and almost all of our listeners use it, so it makes sense. And what we try to do with these episodes is to get you folks looking at some of the Bluebeam tools that maybe you're not even aware of that you already have on your desktop. So, and for today, I want to talk about Bluebeam's built-in export to Office tools. These are really powerful features, and they can add just an absolute ton of benefits and functionality to just about everybody's workflow. Bluebeam has plenty of other export tools. You can export for things like, images and, rich text files and HTML files, and those are all great. But the area where I see the export function bring the most benefit to the folks in the design build world is usually with those Microsoft Office integrations. So, Rocco, in terms of our clients, how many of them are active, kind of Microsoft 365 users? And are they generally looking for ways to kind of cross-connect those Office tools with systems like Revu?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays pretty much everybody's using Microsoft, and like it or not, or I guess we're all still feeding Bill Gates.
Microsoft rules the world, yep.
But yeah, monthly and annual subscriptions. And the integration, that's certainly important. I mean, everybody's at different levels, right? I mean, folks in architecture, engineering, construction have different needs for how they integrate, but it's definitely part of their daily workflow.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's start with kind of how to get to these tools, right? So all you have to do is just go ahead and open up any PDF in Bluebeam, doesn't matter, and go to the File drop-down, and there's an Export menu, right? And at the bottom there, you're gonna see flyouts, little, they slide out to the side for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And I'm going to get into the detailed process of how you can export your data in a minute. But I did want to touch base on just a couple of important concepts before I do that. First of all, you will need to have a printed version of a PDF for these tools to work natively. In other words, it can't be a scanned document. It needs to be one that was printed as a PDF directly so that the text and the images are kind of native elements inside your PDF. Now, that is not to say that you can't do this to a scanned document. But in order to do so, you're going to have to use Revu's built-in optical character recognition, or OCR, tools to have Bluebeam able to identify and create objects as native PDF elements before you can go ahead and run the Microsoft export tools. And that can be a tricky and lengthy operation, and I'm not going to get into that today, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that it is possible but not recommended to work with the scanned documents. And secondly, I kind of want everyone to understand that these exports that we're talking about are not just limited to text items, right? You can actually export images and text and tables, right? Whatever you want directly out into any of these Microsoft 365 platforms. So Rocco, with that in mind, right? Do you find people in our workspace, construction, design, do they work more with Word, Excel, PowerPoint? What seems to be the big one?
Yeah, mostly Excel, and at all different levels. If you think about some of the meetings that we're on from week to week and how people are using Excel, you'd be amazed at the kinds of things that they're doing. So yeah, mostly Excel.
Yeah, and I see the same thing as well. Like my tech guys are doing a ton of stuff in Excel with classes and helping people configure and set it up. It's still the building block of the world at this point. All right, so let's kind of get into the how-to part of this, right? So if you go to the flyouts off the file menu under any of these three systems, right, Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, you're going to see the option of either exporting the entire document or exporting a page region. And the entire document option is going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. By choosing this, Bluebeam is going to take every page within the current PDF and it's going to extract it out as the correct Microsoft file type for you, right? So when you do it, Revu is going to open up a dialog box and it's going to let you, browse out to where you want to save the new Microsoft document, right? And you can name the file anything you need to, and you just hit the OK button and your file gets created in just a few seconds. Once it's built the file, Revu is going to automatically open the file in the correct program that you exported to, right? So you can easily start editing, reviewing, printing, whatever it is you need to do. This is an ideal way to take a static or an uneditable PDF, right, that requires major changes and put it into a system that's designed more for editing than any kind of a PDF file would be. And I think this works incredibly well for things like specifications or contracts, etc., that you guys need to make major modifications to. Rocco, I do this all the time for you when people send us PDF forms that need extensive editing. Have you ever noticed any differences or issues in the files that I send you?
No, I mean, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to work with. We're on for those of you that don't know, we're on the GSA schedule now doing government work, and the amount of paperwork that needs to be filled out is unimaginable, and you forget trying to handwrite it all. So this process just makes it a heck of a lot easier to work with.
Yeah, it is terrible. I mean, so many of those government documents are static forms. They're just like, here's a PDF, but there's no editable fields. And it's like you said, you can just print it out and handwrite it, or you can do this, which makes your life a lot easier. So yeah, the other option that you guys are going to see is the page region option, right? And I'm really going to cover that briefly right now because it's kind of what I'm going to focus on in the second half of today's show, right? Because it's the one that people in the design build world seem to use the most often. And basically what it is, you're just going to draw a box around the area on your PDF that you want to export out. And the rest of it works exactly the same way as the full document process. What I do like best is that both of these processes are identical for all three of the Microsoft systems, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And once you kind of figure out or work through how to use one of these, you can do it for all the others in exactly the same way. You just get a different file format. It's a really easy set of tools to use. And once you do, you guys are going to use this a lot more often than you think. It's that important. All right. So I tell you what, let's take a quick break here to let the sponsors have a word. And when we come back, I want to talk about kind of the practical process and use of these tools. So stick around, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's Cattle Call Podcast is being brought to you guys by Zentek. We want to talk to you guys today about our Zen Estimate tools, a little bit of software that we've developed here in-house and we have for you guys. The Zen Estimate tools run on top of your existing Bluebeam Revu system, right, which is the leading takeoff and estimating software out there today. And it provides you with all the estimating tools that you guys need for fast, accurate, and consistent quantity takeoff and estimating. Zen Estimate tools
for Bluebeam Revu can save you hundreds, if not thousands, of man hours on every one of your projects and help you guys provide consistent output and results across your entire company. So, Rocco, why don't you tell us what we got in the Zen Estimate tools and how folks can find it?
Yeah, we've currently got a set for structural steel work and a set for HVAC work, and there's others in development. So you have to hit up our website and stay in tune with us, zentechconsultants.net. You can actually purchase them off of our e-store, or if you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to talk to you. Drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net. Give us a ring, 866-824-4459. Or I think that's about it, right?
Yeah. Hey, the only other thing then is there are plenty of videos on how they all work and what you can do with the Zen Estimate tools on our website. Zen Estimate tools, folks, you're going to love them. I developed them myself. I'm telling you, they're awesome.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast. We're talking about Bluebeam features that you need in your life. And today we're focused on exporting PDF data out to Microsoft 365 platforms. And in the top half of the show, I kind of took you through the overall process. And in this half of the show, I want to get into more detail on the page region functions and how to use that in kind of a round trip sort of way to extract data, edit it, and then bring it back into the original PDF. So, Rocco, do people in our industry see a lot of need for editing PDFs more easily with this extraction process, but still being able to bring the changes that they made back into the original PDF?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely an area of the product that we're asked about often. What do you see?
Yeah, no, same thing. I mean, it's like I said, it's one of those areas that once people see how it works and what it can do, it becomes almost a daily thing. So yeah, I definitely see that. I mean, so often you get, like I said, with government stuff, you got to give it back to them, or you got a contract from a client. It's got to go back to them in the same original PDF format they sent it. So how do you edit that? Beyond markups, you know what I mean? If you want to do a direct edit and change something, this is the way to do it. So, okay. So when you're using this page region functionality, what's going to happen is Revu is going to ask you to draw a box. Right? You just kind of click and drag a box around the region that you want to export out. Right? And this can be anything. I mean, it can be a word or a paragraph or multiple paragraphs, a single page, right? Even a table or a photo. And I'll say this, I usually work this way if I need to edit anything more than a single sentence in a PDF. Revu's built-in text editing tools, they let you modify, the text on a document directly, but because Revu is not a true word processor, right? Things like the line breaks and the spacing and the formatting inside of Bluebeam can get clunky, I guess. If you're doing anything more than, changing a few words or updating some spelling or whatever, I find it's easier to take out, either a few paragraphs or a full page that needs editing and then, use Word or Excel or whatever to modify it, right? And then import the updated information right back into the original PDF, right? I find that it's quicker and it's going to look a lot better than trying to handle major edits inside Bluebeam itself. And one thing I'm also going to point out here is that, when you export a table out to Excel or to Word, really, Bluebeam does an absolutely fantastic job in Excel of properly formatting it into rows and columns, right? So if you need to go in and adjust pricing or counts, or if it's a bill of material type of PDF table, it's really, really easy to handle that in Excel and make those changes in Excel rather than it is in Revu. And even if you export it out to Word, it converts it to a Microsoft Word table. So the editing, once you pull it out, is really, really nice. But yeah, Excel is the big thing, right? So Rocky, right? People always seem to like the Excel processes best when I teach this in our classes. Yeah, I know we touched on this a little bit in the first half, but do you find that most people are still regularly using Excel in the design build space?
Yeah, they are, and they're looking to make this connection, between Bluebeam and Excel. for whatever reason, we see a lot of folks who are doing structural steel work um, come to us, and like I said, they're interested in our Zen Estimate steel tools, but they're also interested in having us work with them in more detailed ways. And when you look at how they're using Excel, it's hugely impressive. I mean, sometimes they're like, well, I'm not really good at Excel. And you see how they're using it. It's like, holy crap, you guys really know your stuff here, and so again, they're looking for that deeper integration with Bluebeam. That quantity linking feature is huge between Bluebeam and Excel.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I find just a ton of people who have been using Excel for so long, and it's become so integral into their business workflows. They're not going to leave it, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, Excel is an old program." It's 90% of the people out there still using Excel for the bulk of their work. And I know the sales folks always want to tell us different. Buy new software, migrate new. Nah, there's nothing that beats Excel. It's the king, hands down, in the software space. All right, so kind of getting back to this extraction stuff, right? Let's talk about the next step, right? And the next question you guys likely have is, okay, it's easy to get this stuff out, but how do I get my edited data back into Revu? Well, look, if it's a paragraph or a table, right, you can just copy and paste the data back into the PDF by using Revu's native text editing tools, right? You just highlight the text or the table in your PDF that you want to replace before you paste, and then just right-click paste, and you're done. Easy. That's simple on small things, right? But it does get a little tricky once you get into like larger edits across multiple paragraphs, or if you're dealing with complex tables to do the copy-paste thing. So I usually go another route. And what I normally do is I export out the full page of my PDF, right? Even if I'm only working edits in a small handful of areas. And you use the page region tool for this, right? When you draw your box around the entire page, right? So if you needed to make edits on page 188, I'll literally go from the top left to the bottom right of page 188 in the PDF, right? And then that one page gets written out as its own Microsoft file. Right? Then I'll go in and I'll do, all of the edits on that page, right? Whether it's in Excel or Word or whatever it is. Make all your changes, all your formatting, right? Because now you're working in the native, word processor, database worksheet, whatever it is. It's very easy to make the edits and make it look right, and copy and paste and completely change whatever you need. Once I've got that done, then I go ahead and I print it out as a standalone PDF. Okay, so basically I went from PDF to Microsoft. Now I'm going to go back to PDF. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to use either the Microsoft Bluebeam printer drivers, which get installed with Bluebeam. They install Bluebeam printer drivers directly into all your Office products. Or you can even just use the basic Microsoft print to PDF tool that everybody has if you're working in the Office environment. Either one of those works perfectly fine for this. Now that I've printed out that one page, now I can just go back to my original PDF and I open up the thumbnails view panel, right? And for those of you who know what that is, it's the little four square, the little four squares icon. It's usually on the left side of your screen. And from there, it shows you little mini thumbnails of every page in the PDF. You just right click on the thumbnail of the page that you edited, right? And you select replace pages. It's going to pop up a little browse dialog. You browse out to that single page PDF that you just printed from your Microsoft file and choose it to replace the page that you clicked as a thumbnail, right? And then the entire page is rewritten, and it now contains all of the neat, clean, simple, amazing edits that you made inside of your Microsoft 365 program. It's that easy, right? So there it is. It's very simple. It's a basic round trip from PDF to Microsoft and back to PDF. Usually it all happens within 5 minutes, right? Including all your time you spend editing in Office, usually only editing a page or so. And what I want you guys to take away from today's show is that there's really no such thing as a non-editable PDF. Well, Actually, I'll check that. There is one. It's called the PDF/A, which is a government archive file. Those are actually designed to lock out editing at any level. But for most of what you guys are going to get, though, unless you get one of those from the government, most of what you get, you should be able to modify, copy, remove sections, add sections, whatever you need, and still be able to maintain the clean look and the easy use of a PDF file, right? And that is why you need to have the Bluebeam export tools in your daily life. And that's what we talk about here on the show. And with that, folks, we are going to get out of here today. All right, have a good one, and we'll catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.